Each morning we are handed a sacred gift, another chance, another opportunity to rise, to live, to love, to begin again. And how we receive that gift, how we start our day, can determine everything that follows. You see, what we tell ourselves first thing in the morning becomes the soil where our thoughts take root. It is in those quiet, early hours before the noise of the world floods in that we are closest to the stillness that speaks truth. And in that stillness, we must learn to speak life. Every morning, the mind is like freshly fallen snow, untouched, blank, waiting for the first footprints. The words we speak into that space are powerful. They're more than just positive sayings or motivational slogans. They are declarations. They are affirmations of who we believe ourselves to be, and more importantly, who we are willing to become. You don't have to have it all figured out when the sun comes up. You don't need all the answers. But you must speak with faith, speak with vision. You must wake up and tell yourself something that will carry you through the storm and through the still waters too. Because life is not always going to wait for you to feel ready. The day doesn't pause while you sort through your doubts. The clock keeps ticking. And if you're not careful, your inner critic will rise before your inner champion has a chance to speak. Too many of us wake up defeated before the battle even begins. We let fear speak first. We let worry whisper its way into our chest. And we rehearse the same script of insufficiency. Tired. I'm not enough. This is too hard. And every day, those words steal a piece of the victory that was meant for us. But I tell you, there is a better way. There is a holy power in waking up and choosing your voice, in standing up before your feet, even touch the ground and declaring, today is a gift. I have breath. I have purpose. I will walk in it. There's something sacred about a soul that starts the day in alignment with purpose, with vision, with strength not of its own, but drawn from a deeper well. When you begin your day by telling yourself the right things, you aren't just motivating yourself. You're ministering to your spirit. You are preaching a sermon to the most important congregation you will ever have, your own soul. And the message must be clear. You are here for a reason. You are stronger than you feel. Today is not just another day. It is a divine appointment. When you tell yourself the truth in the morning, you begin to recognize the lies throughout the day. The truth becomes a filter. It becomes a compass. And that is how you begin to walk in confidence, not confusion. That is how you learn to stand tall, even when the winds of life try to push you down. You don't wait for someone else to come and lift you. You don't wait for the world to validate your worth. You rise up and you remind yourself who you are every single morning. And yes, it takes intention. It takes repetition. But let me tell you something. The enemy of your soul wants you silent in the morning. He wants you passive. He wants you kind of reacting and starting your day in chaos. Because if he can steal your first thoughts, he can shape the rest of your day. But when you take that time, when you claim the first few moments of your day to speak words of strength, peace, clarity, you begin to build spiritual momentum. And over time, it becomes a habit, and that habit becomes a lifestyle, and that lifestyle begins to transform everything. Do not underestimate the power of a morning whisper. Do not overlook the strength in a soft-spoken, I can do this. Oh, I am enough today. These are not weak words. These are warrior words dressed in humility. These are the quiet declarations of those who refuse to surrender their peace to the chaos of the world. These are the phrases that part the sea when everything seems overwhelming. And so I say, start there. Start with a whisper of truth before the world hands you 1,000 lies. Speak gently but boldly to yourself. Tell yourself who you are, not based on your feelings, not based on your past, but based on your purpose. Let your words go ahead of you. Let them prepare the way. Because when you speak with purpose in the morning, you walk with power all day. Let the first words you speak not be from fear or habit or haste, but from truth spoken in faith. We are not just shaped by the world around us. We are shaped more deeply by the world within us. And that world within is built day by day, thought word by word. You see, the most important conversation you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. That quiet dialogue in your mind, that steady voice that whispers in moments of doubt or speaks up in times of decision. It's there every day, and whether we realize it or not, that voice is being trained. It is being taught what to believe, what to expect, and how to see the world. Every time you say something to yourself, whether it's, "I can't do this," or "I am built for this," you are placing another brick in the foundation of who you are becoming. It may seem small, but make no mistake, repeated thoughts become beliefs. Beliefs become identity, and identity becomes destiny. You do not rise to the level of your intentions. You fall to the level of what you believe about yourself. This is why repetition matters. This is why every morning you must choose what kind of voice you are training, because the voice you rehearse is the voice that will speak the loudest when pressure comes. When life gets heavy and you feel like quitting, it will not be the voice of others that holds you together. It will be your own. And if that voice has been shaped by truth, by strength, by faith, then you will endure. You will stand. But if that voice has been shaped by doubt, by shame, by the echo of every failure, then even the lightest burden will feel too much. And that's why we must take our thoughts seriously. That's why we must speak to ourselves with the same kindness and power we'd speak to someone we love. Every day, you are training the inner voice. And that training does not happen by accident. It happens by intention. It happens when you say again and again, "I am not what I was. I am becoming who I'm meant to be." You don't build strength with one act. You build it through repetition. And you don't build belief with one good thought. You build it by choosing that good thought over and over again, especially when it's hardest. You tell yourself, "I can handle this," not because you feel it in the moment, but because you know that your words are seeds, and those seeds will grow if you keep watering them. That's the secret many people miss. They try to change their life, but they forget to change their words. They want peace, but they speak chaos. They want courage, but they rehearse fear. And they wonder why they still feel stuck. But I'll tell you, it's because you cannot plant weeds and expect a harvest of roses. You cannot rehearse weakness and expect to walk in strength. The voice that shapes your life must be rooted in truth and spoken in love. So every morning, when you open your eyes, when the day is still fresh and the air is quiet, that's your moment. That's when you begin the training. You speak to yourself, not with pride, but with purpose. You say, "I am here on purpose. I have what it takes. I am not a prisoner of my past." And even if you don't feel it yet, you speak it. You repeat it. Because faith comes by hearing. Sometimes the first voice you need to hear is your own, speaking what is right even when it doesn't yet feel real. Some of you are waiting to feel worthy before you speak with power. But the truth is, you must speak with power so that you begin to feel worthy. That is not pretending. That is prophesying. That is not denying reality. That is choosing a better one. It is aligning your thoughts with who God says you are, not with who the world tried to convince you to be. And it starts in the morning. It starts with a decision: I will no longer be led by the loudest voice. I will be led by the truest voice. And let me tell you, friend, that true voice is already in you. It is waiting for you to wake it up. It is waiting for you to give it space to speak. But it needs practice. It needs repetition. You must say it again and again. Not broken. I am not alone. I am not powerless. I am being built. Say it when you're tired. Say it when it feels like nothing is changing, because every time you say it, you are becoming it. And in time, you will see those small words spoken in faith, spoken in love, repeated each morning. They will become the very foundation of a new life, a stronger life, a more peaceful, more focused, more joyful life. One morning at a time, one morning at a time. Your voice is the first instrument God gave you. Use it to build, not break, to lift, not limit, to rise, not retreat. Life will speak to you. Oh, it will speak loudly. The news, the noise, the comments of others, the expectations of the world, and even the whispers of fear within your own mind. All of them have something to say. And if you do not train your heart to hear the right voice first thing in the morning, you will spend your day swayed by every wrong one. That's why we must understand this truth morning self. Talk isn't just a habit. It's a form of protection. It's how we build a shield around our minds before the arrows of negativity can land. You don't walk into a storm without a coat. You don't head into battle without armor. And yet every day, people step out in the world unguarded. No truth over their minds, no strength in their spirit, no word of hope on their lips. And then they wonder why the first challenge of the day knocks them over. It's not that they were weak. It's that they were unprotected. That is why we must learn to speak to ourselves early. Before the fear, before the headlines, before the world has a chance to plant discouragement, you must plant confidence. Before life tries to define your worth, you must declare it for yourself. That is your shield. That is your defense. Because there is an enemy of your soul who would love for you to forget who you are. He would love for you to walk through the day feeling small, unworthy, anxious, and tired. But I am here to tell you, you don't have to let that voice have the final word. There is a stronger voice, a wiser voice, a voice that says you were created with purpose, that you are not an accident, that you are not alone. But you must choose to hear it. You must choose to believe it. And belief is not passive, it's active. It begins with words, not someone else's words. Yours. You see, when you speak truth over yourself in the morning, you are not just being positive. You are setting boundaries around your soul. You are saying, fear, you don't get to speak first. Doubt, you don't get to lead today. Insecurity, you don't get a seat at my table. You are building a shield, and it may not be visible, but its power is real. You don't wait until the battle starts to get ready. You prepare in advance. That's why morning declarations matter so much. When you wake up and say, today I walk in peace, or I am not defined by fear, you are anchoring your mind. You are securing your thoughts before the winds of the day try to blow them away. And you don't say these things once and forget about them. You carry them with you. You take those words with you into your meetings, your relationships, your quiet moments, your hard conversations. They become your armor. Let me tell you something. The world is not going to hand you encouragement. It's not going to pause and make sure you feel seen or valued or strong. No, you have to go into your day already full, already grounded, already reminded of what's true. And that reminder has to come from you, because you can't live off of someone else's confidence. You can't borrow someone else's faith. You've got to speak your own. You've got to believe your own. Now, hear me on this. Doesn't mean you'll never feel discouraged. It doesn't mean you won't hear voices of doubt. But it means you'll be ready when they come. You'll have something stronger already established. You'll be able to say, no, I've already spoken truth over myself today. I've already reminded my heart that I am capable and I am covered. And if you do that day after day, something begins to shift. You begin to walk through your day with a little more peace. You begin to respond instead of react. You don't let every critical word cut you. You don't let every problem through, of course. Because you've already grounded yourself in the morning. You've already put up the shield. You've already chosen your voice. This world will try to make you question your worth. It will try to steal your focus and silence your joy. But when you learn to speak truth over yourself first thing in the morning, you make it harder for those lies to stick. You make it harder for the darkness to settle in, because light has already filled the space. So start your day with words that lift you, words that guard you, words that remind you who you are before the world tries to tell you otherwise. And carry them with you, not just for today, but for every day that comes. The voice you trust first will be the voice that shapes your day. Make sure it's the one that tells the truth. Most people wake up and immediately fall into motion. The alarm goes off and they're reaching for their phones. Emails, news, messages, they all come rushing in before the feet even touch the floor. And without even realizing it, the heart starts racing, the mind starts running, and the soul is already behind. That is what it means to live in survival mode. You're not starting your day, you're bracing for it. You're not leading your thoughts, you're reacting to them. And when you live like that, day after day, it begins to feel normal. But I tell you, that is not how God meant for you to live. You were not created just to survive this life. You were not placed here simply to go through the motions, barely making it from one day to the next. No, you were created with purpose. You were designed for intentional living, and the shift from survival to intention begins the moment you wake up. It begins with what you say to yourself in those first sacred moments. Because if you do not speak with purpose, the world will speak for you. And the world's voice, more often than not, is full of anxiety, fear, distraction, and comparison. But there is another way. There is a higher path. It starts when you stop and say, I will not rush into this day. I will not start with fear. I will begin with truth. I will begin with faith. You don't have to wake up and feel strong every morning. You don't have to feel joyful the moment you open your eyes. But you do have to choose how you respond. That is where power lies. Not in perfect circumstances, but in faithful response. When you wake up and speak life into your own spirit. When you declare, I am here on purpose, and today I will walk in that purpose. You are choosing intention over reaction. You are saying to the chaos, you don't run me. You are saying to fear, you don't lead me. You are stepping into the day, not as a victim of time and pressure, but as a steward of it. You see, your morning declarations are more than just words, they are direction. They guide your focus. They tell your heart where to look. And if you don't give yourself a direction, the day will choose one for you. But when you say things like, today I will find peace, or I am not rushing, I am moving with purpose, you are aligning yourself with heaven's pace, not the world's pressure. Survival mode keeps your head down. It keeps you anxious, restless, always doing but never arriving. But intention lifts your eyes. It reminds you that every step has meaning, that every word matters, that every hour is a gift, not a burden. When you wake up with intention, you stop counting down the minutes and start living in the moment. And that shift, it doesn't happen by accident. It happens through discipline. It happens through decision. It happens when you look in the mirror each morning and say, I am not here by chance. I am not walking through this day blind. I know who I am. I know where I'm going. And yes, there will still be trials. There will still be interruptions. But when you've rooted your day in purpose, those things don't derail you the way they used to. Because you're anchored. You've already chosen your course. You've already spoken your truth. You've already filled your spirit before the world could empty it. There's a peace that comes when you stop reacting and start living on purpose. There's a strength that rises when you stop rushing and start walking. And that strength, it grows each morning as you train your heart to pause, to speak, to align with what's true, not what's trending, not what's loud, what's eternal. Friend, don't waste another sunrise living in reaction. Don't spend another day scrambling to catch up. Start your morning with vision. Start it with direction. Let your words rise before the sun does. Let your spirit speak before the screens start flashing. And as you do, you'll feel the shift, you'll see it. You'll walk through your days not as one barely making it, but as one moving with quiet power. You were never meant to live on autopilot. You were meant to live awake. So open your eyes each morning and speak with purpose. Let that be the beginning of every day. Because the way you start determines the way you finish. There is something deeply powerful about starting your day with the right words. Words that lift your spirit, steady your thoughts, and ignite your heart. The world we walk into each morning is full of noise. Some of it is loud and obvious. Traffic, deadlines, demands, but much of it is subtle. It sneaks in through comparison. It hides in business. It whispers in the form of self-doubt. And before you know it, you're walking through the day feeling like you're always one step behind, always not quite enough, always unsure of where you stand. But when you begin your morning by speaking truth to yourself, you interrupt that cycle. You rise before the noise and say, I am grateful, I am capable, I am prepared. You take control of the atmosphere within you before the atmosphere around you tries to control you. And when you do that, when you pause and declare who you are and what this day means, you unlock something far greater than motivation. You awaken your spirit. You stir up gratitude. You call forth confidence. You remind yourself that you are not walking into this day empty-handed. You are walking in with the gifts of God already placed within you, gifts of peace, strength, joy, and divine direction. Gratitude is where it begins. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are still here. Because breath fills your lungs and your story is still being written. You don't need a grand reason to be thankful. You just need to open your eyes and look. There is beauty in the small things. There is mercy in the morning light. There is strength in knowing that today is a chance to start again. And when you begin your day by saying, thank you, Lord, even before your coffee is made, even before the plans are clear, your soul is already lifted. Gratitude has a way of turning what we have into more than enough. Then comes confidence. Not arrogance, not pride, but that deep and holy assurance that says, I may not know what this day holds, but I know who I am in it. When you speak confidence into your morning, you are not pretending to be perfect. You are reminding yourself that you are equipped, that what you need has already been placed inside you, that you don't have to have all the answers to walk in strength. You speak, I am enough for this moment, not because you feel it, but because you believe that God didn't bring you this far to leave you empty. So many people wait for the world to validate them before they feel confident. They wait for applause before they feel qualified. But the truth is, if you wait for the world to tell you who you are, you'll always be waiting. Instead, you must speak it for yourself. And not just once, but every single morning. Every day you must rise and remind yourself, I am not here by accident. I am walking and calling. I may not feel ready, but I am prepared. And then, after gratitude and confidence, you stir up drive. Not just the desire to be busy, but the drive to be faithful. The determination to use your time well. The fire in your soul that says, I will not drift today. I will decide. I will not wait to feel ready. I will begin now. Drive doesn't mean hustle for the sake of hustling. It means moving forward with intention. It means being a good steward of this one precious life you've been given. Too many people wake up and wait for motivation to find them. But what if motivation isn't something you wait for? What if it's something you create? What if the fire doesn't start until you speak to it? Today, I choose purpose. Today, I choose progress. Today, I choose to move forward even if the steps feel small. That's the kind of declaration that shapes a day. That's the kind of voice that keeps you moving even when the road feels long. Gratitude lifts your eyes. Confidence steadies your step. Drive moves your feet. When these three are spoken into your morning, you're not just getting through the day, you're owning it. You're not running from challenges. You're walking toward them, knowing that what's inside you is greater than anything ahead of you. And that kind of mindset, that kind of morning doesn't come from scrolling or rushing or reacting. It comes from pausing, from speaking, from choosing your voice before the world tries to choose it for you. This isn't about reciting a script. It's about aligning your heart with heaven before the weight of the world tries to pull you down. It's about waking up and choosing to believe that today can be holy. Today can be meaningful. Today can be the start of something new. Speak life into your morning, and life will follow you all day.